guys, so I will take a little bit of time here to give you a backstory on this, and I just want to see what the opinions are out there on this situation. Okay, first let me start by telling you, there's a lot of benefits and there's also some negatives when you're known as the gun guy, the gun person. People know who you are, what you do, and different things about your life and your lifestyle, and you become known as the gun man or the gun guy. And that has its benefits. There's a lot of times that guns have made their way to me. Like, I've literally had people call me, people that want to sell a gun or whatever, that know me, even if they just know a little bit about me and don't know me real personally. I've had them contact me and say, hey, you know, they're going to sell a gun and the first person they think of is me. So sometimes you can get a deal in that regard, and, you know, just depends on what they're offering and what the deal is. So a friend of mine has a relative, and this relative knows me, but I don't know him on a friendship level. I've been around him. He knows my name, knows who I am, knows details about me and stuff. And he contacted my friend that is his relative and said, hey, can you have Paul get a hold of me? So I was texted this number. This had been some years ago, like around 2012 or 13. He texted me his number and said, hey, he wants you to call him, something to deal with a gun. I'm like, okay. So I get this number, I call this number, and basically this is what's told to me. This guy's like around probably 38 years old. He says, hey, I wanted to give you a call because I know who you are and different things, and I've got this Glock that I want to sell. He says this Glock has been in the family for years. Basically, an older guy was the original purchaser, and it was just set up in a closet. And I now own this gun, and I want to sell it to you for $150. So I'm like, okay, yeah, you know, I can do that. I just wanted to take a look first, and let me tell you why. I'm like, okay, yeah, that should be no problem. And you know, I'll bring the money and take a look at it, you know, and should definitely be good to go. Now, the reason that I first said that I wanted to take a look at it was because, believe it or not, a long time ago, I had somebody tell me that they had a 40 cal Smith & Wesson for sale for a real cheap price, and I go to look at the gun and it's a High Point. And I said, why are you telling me that you got a Smith & Wesson for sale when this is a High Point? I don't want the gun. It's not worth much at all. Why'd you say that? So he takes the gun, points to the slide, and it says 40 S&W. Yes, High Point stamps 40 S&W on the slide because the 40 caliber cartridge was developed by Smith & Wesson. So most all gun companies stamp S&W by the 40 on their slide. So I explained this to him. He really didn't know much of anything about guns. And this is a different story, by the way. He didn't know anything about guns. I explained it to him. I was nice to him about it, and I understood that he just was ignorant on gun knowledge. And I told him that's just the 40 cartridge. I looked it up online, showed him some info. Back to this guy with the Glock. That's why I said I wanted to look at it first before I made an agreement, because I try never to back out of agreements like some guys do. So, I forget where we met up at. Maybe at my friend's, that's a relative of his. And what he hands me is the old school Tupperware Glock box. The plastic snap-on lid and, you know, the whole 9 yards. Right off the bat, I'm like, wow, this is an oldie. You know, I'm like, this is an old one here. I popped the lid off, and there is a first generation Glock 17 that looked like to me that it had never been fired outside of maybe the test at the factory. It literally looked like it sat in this box up in a closet, just like he said. Even the stickers on the box were peeling up. The stickers were still fresh on the box. So I said, how much did you want for it? He says, I want $150. I pulled out $150. I gave him the money. I took the Glock. And I don't have that Glock anymore. I think somebody offered me $600 for it a few months down the line, and I wanted to put that money into something else, and I went ahead and sold it. So here's my question. I still get a lot of negative comments on that video, which it doesn't bother me, the negative comments. People can say what they want. You get held to a real high standard when you're pretty well known on YouTube and you got a pretty good sized channel. People hold you to a very high standard, and that's fine. That's cool. I can deal with that. But what I want to know is like the negative comments. I want to take an opinion survey with you, my viewers. People were saying that basically, I can't believe you took that guy's gun for $150. I'm unsubscribing. Why would you do that? You know, all this stuff, which I feel, in my own opinion, is probably a little bit of jealousy and a little bit of haters. That's my two opinions. So that's fine. I would rather those people that have that kind of mentality would just unsubscribe anyway, honestly. So then what I do is when they tell me they're going to unsubscribe, I go over and I block them so that they can never come back again. But my opinion to you guys is that I want to know about, how many of you guys have ever upped someone's asking price when doing a deal? Who does that? You know, if this guy had said, hey, if this guy had small toddlers at home that were starving, didn't have diapers, I would have just said, here's $150. I'll hold this gun until you pay me back. I've done that for people before. I've had people ask me if they could borrow some money and hold their firearm until they pay me back, and I've done that. And what I would give them is roughly half of what the gun sells for in a store. And while I had the gun, I would do a detail cleaning and thoroughly clean the outside, the inside, the barrel, and I would give that gun back to them fresh like new. So I've done this for people before. And this guy wasn't somebody that I knew. He wasn't a friend, or, he wasn't like a close friend or anything. And that's what he wanted. He didn't seem like he was desperate, dying for money, starving. He just said, I want $150 for it. So my question to you is, does that make me a bad guy? Because I paid him what he asked. Now, had he said he wanted $300, and I said, man, whatever, I'll give you $150. You walk away and you go deal with some stranger on the street that you don't know who it is, and you try to get more money out of this gun, then I could see somebody saying something. If I had just sat there and talked him down like a car salesman until he sold it for that price. He came to me and said, this is what I want, $150. I gave him exactly what he wanted. Now, with that being said, anybody that thinks that I did wrong in that deal and that I did that guy wrong, tell me how many times in your life that you've went to buy something and you've talked the person up in price. Let me know how many times you did that. Because if you've never done that in your lifetime, then I really don't feel that you have any just cause to judge me for taking a good deal and giving a person exactly what they wanted. I would have paid up to $400 for that gun. He had an internet, he had a smartphone. He could have looked it up in a second. Just a basic Glock 17, even if he didn't know about guns. But he come to me and said, this is what I want, $150. I gave him exactly what he wanted. I've never heard of anybody buying, selling, or trading firearms that talked somebody up in price, that they wanted to pay more. So I just kind of want to get a general opinion from you guys. Let me know what you think about me just taking a great deal. There's also been times, guys, that there was a gun out there that's hard to find or rare to find, and somebody listed it for sale used, and I've met that person and paid more than what the gun would have cost new. Yeah, I've done that. I've never met with somebody and tried to talk them down. If I make a deal with you, that's the deal. That's it. And that's what I tell people. Like, if I do a private face-to-face deal with somebody, I'll tell them right on the phone, I'll say, the only thing I ask is when we meet, I just want you to know right up front, don't try to talk me down because I'm firm on this price. If you're good with that, I'll still meet you. If not, then I'm going to go ahead and cancel off right now, just in case. Just wanting to know that you're not going to try to go down that road. And I've never had someone tell me that they were going to try to do that. I have met with someone before, and then the person tried to talk me down from an agreed upon price of something that I was selling. And of course I did not do that. And they ended up paying what I wanted. I made them an offer they couldn't refuse. Joke. You know, sometimes you get a good deal and you go for it. People all over in life get good deals on different things and have chances where they get something good. Sometimes you pay too much, sometimes you get ripped off. But you never know what's going to happen. And I don't feel in any way that I did somebody wrong. Had this guy been in desperate need, desperate situation where it's like emergency, I would ask him how much money he need, and I would have took the gun and I would have said, I'll give you a year to come pay me back and I'll hold this gun. If you decide you don't want this gun back within a year's time, or at a year's time you don't pay me, then we'll just consider it that I bought the gun from you. I would have done that, no questions asked. We've got no issue with that. So I'm excited to hear what your thoughts and opinions are, how you would handle that situation, and would you talk somebody up that is a coherent, younger guy, about 39 years old, knows what he has, and says, this is the price I want. Would you talk that person up when you're doing a deal? Or have you ever done that? All right, guys, until next time, should it make for some interesting comments down below. Until next time, guys, this is DOF, and I am